Counting down the top 10. One of the most significant criticisms against electric cars is the lack of a proper driving range. It's a valid concern because maximum range will inevitably play an important role when purchasing an EV. More range equals a better electric car, though that shouldn't be the only factor. CarBuzz is of the opinion that the best range is a range that fits in with your lifestyle. Buying a Tesla Model 3 long range is unnecessary if your daily commute is less than 10 miles. In that case, just about every EV on the market will do. This feature will likely be updated at least twice a year because claimed ranges are climbing at a rapid rate. EV naysayers like to point out that the average range of an electric car is around 250 miles, while the average for an ICE car is just over 400 miles. Here's the thing, however. The average for combustion cars has been static for nearly a decade, while electric range improves year on year by double or triple digits. How many years before every EV is classified as a long-range car? Since this is a top 10 list, we'll start from lowest to highest. For the record, we only use the EPA estimated range because it is by far the most strict testing procedure. As you'll see from numbers 10 to 3, there's a strong presence in the 320 to 360 mile range. Depending on driving style, the first 4 cars on this list can easily be replaced by other vehicles that lose out by just a mile or 2 of range. Examples include the Cadillac Lyriq, BMW i7, Kia EV6, and Nissan Ariya. If you're in the market for an EV with roughly 300 miles of range, plenty of options exist. If you want the longest range electric cars, get ready to spend at least $88,000 for a Model S. And importantly, remember that these are cars you can buy and drive now, not just put reservations down on for arrival next year. 10. BMW iX, 324 miles. One of the main trends you'll notice is a choice between performance and range. The 9M60 is a 523 horsepower beast but has a much lower range than its slightly more docile long-range xDrive 50 stablemate. The 50 still has 516 horsepower, so it's hardly a slouch, but the claimed driving range is 324 miles. You can say what you want about the design, but BMW knocked this one out of the park as a package. And besides, you don't have to look at it once you're inside. 9. Rivian R1T, 328 miles. Rivian announced in May 2023 that its max-pack dual-motor R1T will be delivered to customers in August 2023. The American automaker promised 400 miles of range, but this must still be verified. That's why we're sticking with the Rivian R1T Launch Edition and its 835 horsepower quad-motor setup powered by the mid-air 135 kWh battery. Equipped with 21-inch wheels and low-resistance tires, it can manage 328 miles. Oddly, the EPA has only tested this one configuration. An R1T with a dual-motor setup and a mid-tier battery should have a much better driving range, at least in theory. Either way, it's the longest-range electric truck you can buy at present. Rivian also has the benefit of its adventure network for customers who like exploring. GMC claims the Hummer EV has a maximum range of 329 miles, but due to its 9,000-pound curb weight, it's excused from actual EPA testing procedures. 8. Tesla Model Y, 330 miles. The Tesla Model Y is the American automaker's best-selling car, proving that people will sacrifice a few miles of range for a more attractive crossover body. The long-range model has an EPA-rated range of 330 miles, 28 miles less than the Model 3 sedan it's based on. 28 miles of range is an easy sacrifice to impress the neighbors with a crossover body. 7. Tesla Model X, 348 miles. There is no long-range option for the Model X, but both available models beat the Model Y when it comes to range. You can have the dual motor, which can get from 0 to 60 miles per hour in 3.8 seconds and comes with an EPA-verified 348 miles of range, or you can get the ballistic Model X Plaid, which hits 60 miles per hour in a supercar rivaling 2.5 seconds. Impressively, even with the performance provided by the tri-motor setup, it can still have the 333-mile range. At the time of writing, it was officially the electric SUV with the longest range, but you may want to watch for software updates that lower maximum range claims. 6. Mercedes-Benz EQS Sedan, 350 miles. The model you want is the EQS 584 Matic, which has 516 horsepower and 340 miles of range. Unfortunately, that's less than the Model X, so if the range is the only consideration, it has to be the RWD EQS 450 Plus. It only has 329 horsepower, which is a bit low for something with an S attached to its badge, but it comes standard with 350 miles of range, beating the Model X by 2 miles. 5. Tesla Model 3 to 358 miles. The Model 3 long range has a range of 358 miles, and for a while, it was one of the longest range electric cars, at least on the more affordable side of the automotive industry. While Tesla has a lot of issues, there's no denying that the Model 3 remains a good buy, and its contribution to the automobile industry can't be underestimated. While the Model S forced everyone to pay attention, the Model 3 forced legacy manufacturers to catch up. You might want to wait a while if you're in the market because a facelifted Model 3 is coming, and it will likely boast increased range to take the fight to the next car on this list. 4. Hyundai Ioniq 6 to 361 miles. We all knew this moment was coming. Elon Musk and Tesla claimed the longest range electric cars accolade year after year, but it was only a matter of time before a legacy manufacturer caught up. That finally happened with the Ioniq 6, which offers 361 miles of range. It's in the same ballpark as the Model 3 in terms of price, but it's better in every other way. You get all the benefits of long-range electric motoring and decent build quality. The design may be controversial, but it proves how important aerodynamics are in the AV era. The best setup for this car is RWD with a 77.4 kWh battery. 3. Tesla Model S, 405 miles. This car is more than a decade old, and still, it places in the top 3. What a stellar achievement. In base trim, the Model S can cover 405 miles, and thanks to a recent price drop, it's better value for money than the next entry on this list. If you're willing to sacrifice 9 miles of range, you can get the blistering Model S Plaid, which has put many a supercar to shame in a straight line. 2. Lucid Air Grand Touring, 516 miles. Lucid wanted to make a big splash with the Air and came in swinging with the Dream Edition. The Grand Touring was launched roughly a year later but with an EPA rating of 516 miles. Together, these two sedans are the electric cars with the most range available. Lucid also introduced a home charger that can add 80 miles of range an hour, making its CVs even more attractive to those who can afford them. 1. Longest range electric car, Lucid Air Dream Edition, 520 miles. The car with the most excellent range is the Lucid Air Dream Edition. It was the first Air to go on sale, but only in limited numbers. The EPA confirmed that it would do 520 miles on a single charge, not just setting a new record but also making it the first car to breach the 500-mile barrier. It beat the existing longest-range electric car king by more than 100 miles. You can still buy a used model, but watch for the wheel size. The 520 miles of range only applies to models wearing low-drag 19-inch wheels. If you buy a model with 21-inch wheels, the most range you'll get is roughly 450 miles. Until some manufacturer can pull a rabbit out of a hat, this is the longest range EV you can buy in America.